party, we like to party, party, party all night long. Party, party, we like to party, 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 never go home. Party, party, we like to party, party, party all night long. Party, party, we like to party, 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 never go home.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to episode 37 of the Ball Talk Pod, bringing you the recap of the Thunder's Game 4 victory over the Denver Nuggets by a whopping score of 92-87 to even the series at 2-2 as they come back to Paycom Center for the pivotal Game 5 Tuesday night. Chris, you never doubted this team, right? It was easy today.
Okay. All right. I, at one point during the second quarter, it might have been, I leaned over and whispered, or I didn't really whisper it, but I asked Ben, I said, is it too late to call this one? Is it too early to call this one? I doubted it pretty. Well, maybe it was the third quarter when they were coming back.
It was the third. Like they took a 6-point lead. Yeah.
Yeah, and those 6 points in that moment felt like a million points, or just the tallest mountain to climb. I don't know. Then I tried to talk myself into being positive, and that was just a massive waste of time because I immediately went back to being frustrated. So it was a roller coaster of emotions today. So happy we won. So happy it's a 3-game series with home court advantage back. That's what I'm really, really happy for. Had to win this game, and we did win this game.
The bottom line after Friday night in a game that you should have won is that all you had to do in Denver was split, and then you had the advantage back. And as hard as it was, and I mean, this weekend, it's funny the parallelism between the feelings from Monday to Wednesday and then from Friday to Sunday, where you're supposed to like go about another day of your life. All you can think about is, are the Thunder going to even, like, they have to win.
Right. They have to win.
And I was a bit more calm going into this one than I was going into Game 2 for some reason, just because of the fashion they lost Game 1 and they blew it. And like, how does that, the mental psyche, if you go down 2-0 and then you go on the road and it just isn't going to go well. But then with this one, I really tried to lean it more into this team has responded all year. They haven't lost back-to-back road games all year. Shea isn't going to play as bad. And then, you start getting into the counters of, well, Joe Jokic isn't going to play as bad. Little did we know that both teams would completely forget how to play basketball for the first quarter of that game. The Nuggets scored 8 points in the first quarter.
Rock fight.
And I think we scored 17. We had a 9-point lead. And it was tied for the lowest point scored in a first quarter in playoff history. We're setting records left and right this postseason.
Some good, I guess, and some terrible.
I think one of the reasons you felt so bad, and I wasn't feeling great either. I just hadn't thrown in the towel officially yet. My wife
never threw in the towel.
You asked if you could call it.
I never threw it in, though. I was just asking the question.
Yeah, it's all about your people.
It's just asking the question.
Mm-hmm. But one of the reasons I think you had that feeling and even thought of asking that question is the Nuggets only scoring 8 points in that first quarter and only being up 9 and you not playing well either. I mean, both teams at one point were like 1 of 32 or 34 or 2 of 32 or something like that.
I thought it was 1. I thought each team was 1 of 20.
I think it was 1 of 18. Regardless, I mean, even looking at it, like they got hot a little bit. We shot 20. We both shot actually 24.4%. So the teams got hot at the end to bring that number up. But because of us not being able to make shots, and the biggest thing is not burying them when they couldn't.
Right.
And they weren't just kind of missing shots. They were horrible. And your defense had a lot to do with it. Them just missing shots had a huge, probably was more of a thing than the defense.
Those starters, Denver has a very small rotation. They play maybe 7 guys a night, right? Their starters played 48 minutes or 44 minutes Friday night in that overtime game. And then they came back tonight and played another 42. And they've done that.
Jokic had 42, Brown 44.
They've done
Gordon's
that
played 38,
every
Murray
other.
41.
They've done that every other night for 3 weeks. They're playing 40+ minutes. I
Since
think
Easter weekend, basically.
that is a lot of basketball for 7 guys to play.
And Barkley said this on the post-game show, which wasn't, well, technically it wasn't the post-game show. We were on ESPN today, but TNT had the Cavs-Pacers game, which, holy cow. Barkley was talking about how it was unfair to Denver that they scheduled this game Sunday afternoon after a Friday night late tip. And they're all like, well, 2 teams had to play it. And he was like, yeah, but Oklahoma City got a whole lot of more depth. Starts getting into his thing. And he eventually owned it that, like, both teams had to do it. It's just Oklahoma City was in a better position as we get into this breakdown. The depth is the number one reason we won this basketball game today. Specifically, and I'll give it to player of the game's 3 guys, really. It's Wiggins, Caruso, and Cason Wallace. Dort didn't have it.
Yeah, Dort didn't have it. Sat most of the fourth quarter. But honestly, it was more about riding the hot hand than not punishing Dort, but sitting Dort. Because tell them the stat about the 3-pointers of those three players.
What was it? They hit 8 of the 10 threes.
Yes, those 3 hit 8 of the 10 threes, and I think all their threes came in the second half. So,
now the other 2 were Dort. No, Caruso hit 2 in the first.
Okay.
Bald-headed Demon hit 2 in the first.
That's right.
But Dort had the other 2. He was 2 of 10. You cannot doubt his confidence and his really stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
I understand there's a lot of flack on Dort in terms of how he's shooting. Going into this game, he had not hit a 3 on the road since it was either March 25th or 26th.
It's a long
context
time.
there were 2 different 9-day breaks that we didn't play. So it feels longer than it actually was, but bottom line, he hasn't shot it well. He plays good defense, obviously. He's all defensive first team. Most teams would have to leave him in. And the thing that Mark had a bounce back game today. Through this series, we have seen Mark he's made some questionable decisions to foul up 3 in game 1.
Armor.
Yeah. Some of his challenges have felt a little off. What he did today in terms of rotations, and obviously the players executed it, but there's some strategy stuff that looked really good, especially in crunch time, that he's starting to figure things out. And hopefully he can for 2 more games this series.
And beyond.
But switching out Dort, for one, Caruso played all but 7 minutes in the fourth quarter today, which if you told me that like in a regular season game, there were games he didn't even play 7 minutes the whole game. It felt like
there's been playoff games he didn't play 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true.
The blowout.
I take that back.
I think he played 12 minutes in game 2.
Yeah.
But he just, and I was sitting there and like both of us have watched the highlights since then. Dort obviously is a key piece of this team. He's the best on-ball defensive guard in the league. He shot it above 40% this year for the 2nd or 3rd season in a row. He is a standalone shooter. He sits in the corner. Sometimes he'll take 1 dribble to the side and launch. You don't like he'll rebound a little bit, but you don't see him getting the tip outs that Caruso does. And I don't want to knock his effort because he tries more than anybody. But Caruso and Cason especially today too, and Wiggins, specifically Caruso and Cason, the impact they have on the offensive end isn't just shooting. They're getting in there, they're rebounding, they're tipping the ball out, they're poking the ball on rebounds even after people have gathered it. There was a play in the first half where a Nuggets player had the ball and kind of fumbled it when he was just going to go pick it up and dribble it up, and Cason just sprinted in and got it, and there's 2 points.
Christian Braun, yeah.
Yeah. I saw a tweet and a stat that Cason is now he's 21, he's a little over 21 years old now, like 3 or 4 months over. He is the youngest remaining rotation player in the playoffs. And you would not know that watching him play.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, he'll flex on people like if he gets a big dunk or anything, but he's always level headed. He's always in the moment. There was a spurt in the fourth quarter where, I mean, the Nuggets at one point got up 7. We went on an 11-0 run. He hit 3 threes in 6 minutes. And he was 3 of 3. It's the only, well, he took other shots, but the only 3 attempts he had in that fourth quarter from 3 were in that spurt. You take the lead on the third one to go up 2, and you don't relinquish it the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That is a situation, and we talk all the time about, Aaron Gordon, even without getting into it too much. You're 2 Aaron Gordon threes away from sweeping the series. You had PJ Washington last year, who we don't have to get into all of that. It's felt like, especially today, we were just waiting to have a player reach a PJ Washington level for the Thunder. Like a guy that the Nuggets fans are tweeting, like, how the heck is this guy hitting threes? How the heck is he going off against us? He's not that good. And Kaysen had a modest, 11 points, I believe. Yeah, 11 points. But they were so loud. Those threes, man. Him and Wiggins hit 1 or 2 in that stretch as well. They stayed the course. And those guys plus Caruso coming in, Mark switching away from Dort. And just with this depth, especially with Caruso and Kaysen, you're not losing that much defensively without Dort. And arguably, Dort will tell you on ball, he's amazing. But Caruso and Kaysen are much better off ball, poking balls loose from other players, reading passing lanes, things like that. The depth won this team the game. Mark was creative enough and not too stubborn to adjust and figure out which lineups were going to help this team win this game, because you had to have it. Like, I was thinking about it, if we would go down 3-1, I would believe in this team until they lost. But obviously being down 3-1 versus 2-2 is a massive difference. They had to have this game. They had to go close out a tough game on the road after multiple times already where they've learned a lesson in the negative way. And you're starting to see those lessons pay off. You saw that today, which is, you much rather want to learn those in a win than a loss, especially when you've already had 2 losses of a similar nature.
So I think after the first loss, you were like, how will this team respond? You're like, is this team going to be able to pick themselves back up after getting knocked out not knocked out, but they delivered a pretty hard punch that Denver did. My question was, and I think your question was, if I can talk for you, is that will this team be able to respond? And as we saw, they responded in a crazy way, winning by 41 points or 43 points or whatever the win was, just demolishing Denver. Jokic fouls out, everyone's happy. Going into the third game, you're like, all right, let's carry that over. Let's keep hitting our shots. But we lost again.
You thought they cracked the code in game 2.
You thought they cracked the code, but going into the third game, they lose again on crunch time and decision making and coming down and making the right play at the right time and clutch time buckets and being able to hit big shots. They weren't able to do that.
It was just making them.
Right.
We just didn't make shots to close that
game. So my biggest question today was, could they win a close game? Could they go, and when Denver is coming back and trying to desperately score like they have been in game 1 and 3, can we stop them and hit our free throws and make the right defensive plays and come down and hit a big shot? That was the question I had today, and they again answered the bell. So this team just keeps answering all these questions. I wish I didn't have them, but they're important questions to ask about this team. Are they, first off, how do they respond to getting, that gut punch? And then can they close games? And, right now you're one of 3 closing games, but you won the last one. So you got to carry that momentum into game 5 and try to go up 3-2.
Game 5 is a must win. Far and away, the big, Paycomp's going to be crazy on Tuesday night. It's a must win, because when looking at last year, Obviously, it's not apples to
It's not
apples or
last.
whatever.
Yeah,
They won a game like this last year where Shea put the team on his back.
I was about to
And
say, don't you think this had shades of that game where it was just like this?
just clawed out,
You
just
just had to like
ugly
claw
basketball.
possession. It was ugly possessions, and Shea.
In that game, Shea just went and made shots. Today, it was others.
You're right.
Um,
Right.
But they came home game 5 in a situation where I wasn't as confident in them as I am this year, just because it was our first real playoff run.
Right.
But they kind of laid an egg game 5 and lost. I don't have the exact score, but I think it was double digits, or at least it never felt close. And it was just
Let me
kind of
look.
like, well, that's it. You have to come in Tuesday night and treat it just as important as you did game 3 or game 4 and game 2. You've been playing catch up this whole series. You go down 0-1, you find a way to win. You go down 1-2, you find a way to win. You have to put that pressure back on Denver with 2 games to play with home court.
Right.
I expect them to. Bottom line, I think they come in. You hope that they say this
reverts.
because you're back at home. They say role players obviously shoot better at home. Denver's adding another game where their starters are playing big minutes. I think that's a huge reason why you saw them shoot inefficiently today, even on top of Oklahoma City's defense.
Right.
You have to find a way to win game 5. And then if you can win game 6, great. But if you win game 5, you're guaranteed at worst a game 7 at home. Going into game 7, you're given an extra day of rest from Thursday to Sunday. Now, that might not be beneficial to Oklahoma, or it might be more beneficial to the Nuggets than Oklahoma City. But you have to go win game 5. And if you do that, you're set up perfectly now. Take advantage.
And I expect Paycom to give him a big lift. I think we've talked about it. Paycom is going to be a monster.
Beat the crap out of that Bammer on Tuesday night.
And we got it. Paycom's got to bring the energy and fuel these guys to making big defensive plays and hitting their shots because, they feed off the crowd. And we've been a great crowd all year. But this is an important game for Paycom to show up and show.
Yeah, we're calling out.
I'm calling out Paycom.
The company.
Loud City.
One thing that I think is interesting coming out of this game, kind of building on top of everything. Shea had a horrible game 3, and he'll tell you that. He had a fine game 4 today. And although he definitely tried to go for the kill shot a couple times, he tried to hit 2 step back threes to spread that to a 10-point game with like 2 or 3 minutes left.
But those have hit this year.
Those have hit, and I think he was 3 of 6 in the fourth quarter, so he did shoot 50%, but he had 9 points in the fourth. And so he went and he got to his spots. He was getting to the rim better. One of the things that I think was huge in that, and it wasn't just Shea, it was the offense that was generated for everyone. Like, there was a play, we were up 1 or 3, I can't remember the exact number. Maybe even more, whatever. It was crunch time in the fourth quarter. They're doing their like matchup zone thing where they have Murray technically on Shea, but Brown's showing help at the top of the key, and Jokic is coming up because Hartenstein's setting the pick. Last game, all we did was ISO ball Shea and Dub and pray they make a shot. I didn't move the defense. I don't care how tired you are. An NBA player can play defense straight up and one-on-one when no one else is moving. They could guard Shea. Shea had no room. He was taking heavily contested shots, had no lanes. It wasn't there. What Mark did is specifically on this play, Hartenstein went and set a pick on Murray. Brown's already shaded over. Jokic is on the left side of the floor because he's going to hedge out on Shea. Instead of Shea taking it and trying to go score himself, he reads that there are literally 3 players within 5 feet of him. Gets it immediately over to the Dub. He's one dribble and at the rim and lays it up. I mean, it's just like little things like that. And especially watching the game, you just think it's a great drive by Dub. But the strategy piece of Mark finding ways to put players in positions to go score with ease was not there game 3. And he found a way game 4.
I don't know if it was game 1. I think both those losses we got into too heavy of one-on-one, like you talked about. And it's nice to see that adjustment, because we were talking even like late or early in the fourth, late in the third, where we just could not. Our offense went out the door, and we had no semblance of the thing that got us to the playoffs and got us to a 68 win team. But it's nice. I was driving to Tulsa to meet my mother. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Shout out. And so I didn't get to watch as intently. So it's nice to hear that there was some better offensive action late in the game.
Well, better offensive action, and also like even off of that, Shea had a couple times where he was able to get to the rim to extend the lead. It's going to be interesting to see how that continues. And I know that there are people that are like, we even said after Game 3, Dub should have been taking more shots at the end of that game. You ride with Shea until the wheels fall off, because he is going to win MVP. I hope it's this week. They keep pushing it back. It'd be so sick if he won MVP on Tuesday, and then went and won Game 5 in Paycom. He's gonna, like you said, with the threes, those step backs, he's hit consistently this year. Obviously, he hasn't shot it well in the playoffs this year. I think I was listening to Down the Dunk, and they said that he's shooting like 9% this year from three in the playoffs on the road. In the playoffs on the road, he's shooting 9%.
That's pretty funny.
Which is awful. But he's gonna, like, I don't know if it's Tuesday night, I don't know if it's Thursday night or Sunday night, or later on when and if the Thunder are able to advance. Shea's gonna hit one or two of those shots that just knock the crap out of the other team, and then it's gonna silence the game and it'd be done. You have to ride with that. He's gonna deliver when it matters most. And it might start Tuesday night, but I just have faith in him that he's gonna get it done.
Mark talked about Dort today and kind of why he took him off the court. And he talks about, he trusts the body of work of a player more than,
small
a stretch
sample
of
size.
games. And I think we have to offer the same sort of resilient thought to Shea, who has been that player for 99% of the season. And this is a little bit of a down stretch, yes, from his shooting and from a shot making standpoint. But with the body of work he's had the last 3 years, I truly believe it's going to turn around, and I think it'll turn around fast. And once we start hitting shots against this Nuggets team, it feels like we're just going to win by.
It's what happened Game 2.
I don't know. It feels like we're going to win by 30 every game.
It's what was happening in Game 1 until we decided to stop playing basketball. It's what should have happened today if you just hit your shots. You're up 25 at the end of the first.
Right.
Whatever. You won the game. I got a question for you, Chris.
I have an answer.
And it is actually a question from loyal listener and good friend of the pod, Alex Linton. He wanted me to ask on the pod, is Lou Dort this year's Josh Giddey?
Is Lou Dort this year's Josh Giddey? No. I think Josh Giddey in the playoffs last year offered, this is going to sound really mean, offered nothing on either side of the court. I don't think he was a defensive liability.
In the Dallas series, yes.
In the
Pelicans,
Dallas
he
series,
went off.
Right, okay. But in the series that mattered the most, I think without Josh Giddey, we sweep the Pelicans anyways. Like, I'm not sure there was a really, really close game after Game 1. Lou Dort offers so much on the defensive end in the action and causing, offensive fouls. And when he does shoot the ball well, you are a much better team.
Almost unguardable when you have him shooting it well.
If he's shooting the ball well and hitting, 5 threes a game or 3 threes a game, and he's really feeling it, you're a much better offensive team. Same could have been said for Josh Giddey too, but Josh Giddey was not giving you the minutes, point of attack defense prowess that Lou Dort is giving you. So I think it's I don't want to.
I get why he asked it, and
I'm not sure why. Why are you saying? Why do you think?
I get why, because one, in a playoff run, and when stuff is going wrong, there's someone to point at to say
Sure.
The difference is last year, one of the main reasons why Mark had to keep playing Giddey is because outside of Chet, Giddey was your tallest player. Him and Jay will, I guess, but like our rebounding was so bad that you hoped Giddey would find a way to help there. And whatever. We don't need to get into all the giddiness of last year. The difference is
I was very sad, not Giddey.
The difference between what Dort and Giddey are offering the team is that even when Dort is a negative on the offensive end, he's not going to be a negative defensively. Obviously, Murray's going to get his every once in a while. He's a great player. You're not going to stop someone 100% of the time. The gift of this team is, and as we mentioned, with winning this game with depth, Kaysen guarded Murray today as good or better than Dort did. And when you saw Kaysen was hitting shots, Mark was smart enough to be like, Kaysen's my guy going down the stretch. I don't even know if Dort played in the fourth quarter.
I don't think he did.
And you have Caruso to throw in there. I mean, and Dub can you have depth and options to make up for a bad Dort game. You did not have that option last year with Giddey. And especially with how he shot, and he hasn't shot obviously well on the road. You want to see more from Dort, and he's the one that's like, he kept shooting today. He was 2 of 10. And you kind of part of it's like you want him to shoot out of it, but also it's a must-win game. So it's not, you're shooting out of a slump in the middle of February. Dort will make big shots, and he's showed up in big games before. I do consider him, air quotes, this year's Giddey. But thank God, this is it's a way different level to me in terms of the negative side of having Dort on the court versus how terrible it was to have Giddey on the court last year.
If you mean the player that is missing a lot of shots and we wish would hit shots, then yes, I think Dort is this year's Giddey. I really wish Dort would hit shots because like we talked about, I think it makes us a super hard team to guard when he's making shots, and you have to make sure to have somebody out there so it opens the lane for Shea and Dub and Chet even. So I think, I don't know what your takeaways from this, your overall takeaways are, but my overall takeaway is this team can win a close game against Denver, and that makes watching the game a lot more easy. It makes it easier. I'm sorry.
There's proof of concept.
There's proof of concept so that I'm not we got to get up by 10. We have to be winning by 10 or whatever to win this game. Being able to know that this team and have confidence in this team and instilling confidence in themselves. I think J-Dub hitting 4 free throws with the game on the line and knocking those down.
And looked like he was going to make it each time. He did. There was no doubt on his face.
I think that is such a confidence builder. And then after the way you lose game 1 and game 3 to come back and win a close game, really big momentum. I think it's a momentum sweep into the Thunder side of the court, where now they're going to go home and play in front of their fans, and they're going to have, all this energy to sleep in their own bed, to do all this other things. It feels like it feels like a big momentum switch.
Oh, it is.
Towards the Thunder, and they have to capitalize it on Tuesday night.
It's as big as Denver winning game 1, winning back home court.
Yes.
I mean, and you said we haven't talked about it much yet. Dub hit some big free throws. I don't know if I could have seen a worse game from Dub and still think that he was phenomenal today. His defensive intensity was there. It felt like he was commanding the offense. 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Hit some big ones there.
What was his assist to rebound stuff?
He had 5 assists, 3 rebounds, but he had 3 steals and a block. And obviously, you want him to score more, especially if he's going to be your 2. Chet didn't score that much either. He only had 8 points, but he had 13 rebounds. No blocks or steals, but you obviously still feel him. They combined to win 0 of 8 from 3. Now, the hope is that you come into Paycom Tuesday night and you can go get a Dub or a Chet game and go win a game where you have, we've lost a Caruso game and we've lost a Dub game. Find a way to have someone else go off and go win it. It's almost evening out that playing field of you just won a game where Dub and Chet were not good offensively. So we'll see. I mean, they're gonna shoot better in Paycom. I mean, that's a safe bet. It is a bet. You don't know if it's true, but I trust in them. But yeah, the Tuesday night, big game. I don't think that's shocking.
It's a must win.
Must win. Now, before we get out of here, Chris, one last note before we wrap up. The NBA draft lottery. It's tomorrow night, 6:00 Central Time. The Thunder have roughly 36% of a chance to get a top 10 pick.
Right.
Now, we kind of covered it on the pod throughout the year, but just to refresh, the 76ers owe us their pick this year if it falls outside of the top 6. So it goes to 7 or 8 or however far back. The odds of that happening are 36%. We will find out tomorrow night if the Thunder have a top 10 pick. We already have the 15th pick from Miami. If it doesn't convey this year, it'll go to top 4 next year, which you anticipate Philadelphia being better, so it may not be as good. I sent some people this, and I kind of agree with it. Leave all the vibes on the court. If I would lose this pick 100 times out of 100 if it meant the Thunder were going to go win Game 5.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we'll see. It'd be super cool if we got it, but it's definitely not the end of the world. But something to look out for Thunder fans tomorrow night. It's 6:00. I'm sure it's on ESPN. It's before the first game. Now, we don't know when the MVP is going to be announced. I kind of hope it's this week, but they haven't officially stated when that will be. But
I think it'll be Tuesday. I think he'll raise the trophy on home court before Game 5.
That'd be sick.
Then he has to go out and win, though. Like,
it has to.
Has to.
This series is going to go a long way in providing the narrative of if Shea really deserves this MVP. And he does, but Twitter likes to Twitter.
To the national media.
So there you have it. Monday night, you have the lottery. Tuesday night, Game 5 in Paycom. 8:30 Central Time tip Tuesday night. We'll be back to recap that game. Hopefully it's a good mood pod again. But appreciate everybody for going on this ride with us and just excited that it's 2-2 coming home Tuesday night. But appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to you again later. See you.
All night long, party, we like to party, all night long.